Hey everyone, my name is Matt. Welcome to my backyard. I am super excited to share with you my new chair kits, which I am launching. This video is going to cover all the information on the chair kits and all the information on the launch of the kits. And again, I'm really excited to be at this point. I've been working on this for a long time. So the launch right now is going to be a pre-order window type of deal. So you'll be able to place an order for the kits, and then I will ship them after I receive them back from the manufacturer. So the pre-order window is going to run through July 7th. I'll give you a couple of weeks to place an order if you're interested, and it'll take you through the 4th of July weekend as well, in case you're busy with 4th of July vacation stuff. The lead time on this is probably going to be about 8 weeks. I have a 6-week lead time with the manufacturer, and then I'll ship them after that. So figure late August for the actual shipping. And as far as the launch goes, I'm offering the chair kits at a 15% discount and also providing free shipping. So these will never be this cheap ever again. And that discount is my way of saying thank you for getting in early. Thank you for believing in this. Thank you for supporting the things I do. And potentially sorry for any bumps along the way, because I think I have things figured out, but you never know. Something could happen, so that's my way of saying sorry for any inconvenience. With the shipping at this point, unfortunately, I have to keep this within the US. The chairs are fairly heavy. The boxes are going to be somewhat big. So international shipping is going to be fairly cost prohibitive. So I'm just limiting this pre-sale to only in the US. If this works, this has a lot of potential to grow. So I will look into, or I will definitely start doing international distribution if this is all kind of works out all right. As far as price on these things, they're going to be sold in sets of 4, 6, and 8. If you happen to want more than 8, you can let me know and I'll get you some pricing on that. But the price range is going to be from $1,200 to $1,800 on a set of 6, and everything else is going to kind of fall in between that, and that is without the discount. So keep that in mind as well. So let's take a look at what exactly a kit is. So this here is a sample kit. This is the parts for the first chair here behind me. So basically this is the point in a project, if you had built it yourself, where you have all your joinery cut, all your shaping is pretty much done, and you're ready to get into your final details and all your finish prep. So all your parts are going to come with, they're all going to be curved, or any curved parts are going to be curved and ready to go. All your angled joinery is going to be cut already. You're going to have leg parts, back parts. This one's got a lot of rails, which I don't really need right now. This one also has 5 back slats, and you're going to get your big old seat. The seat's going to be already shaped, or cut to shape, and scooped out for you. Put that over there. You also get your hardware kit and your corner blocks that's going to attach the seat into the frame. So I'm just going to throw together this back assembly real quick, just to kind of demonstrate things. Most of these kits have pretty much everything ready to go out of the box. They're going to have maybe a couple of small tweaks to take care of. In this case, we have some intersecting tenons, so this one here is notched, so it'll go together. But other than that, there's not really a whole lot of additional work that needs to be done. So one question I've got along the way here is kind of why chair kits, or why chairs? So there's a lot of people that make tables, and there's a lot of people that don't ever make the chairs to go with those tables. And I can totally understand why, because you start getting into chair making and it gets kind of complicated. If you want to make a chair that looks good and actually happens to be comfortable, that's not exactly an easy thing to design. And then if you are going to make something that's comfortable, you're probably going to have it be having some curves in it. Those curves are going to add some complexity. You're going to have some probably angled joinery to kind of deal with as well. And I have apparently no idea what I'm doing. There we go. I should have marked these. So that's going to, I'm putting it all in backwards. So all that angled joinery, all those curves are going to make it a little more of a complicated project, which might not be all that beginner friendly. Now, because I'm selling these kits doesn't mean that I think everybody should not make chairs. If you really want to make a chair, go for it. I'm not going to keep you from making chairs, but if you're looking for a little more realistic option for getting a chair put together that you have some part in, this is going to be a good fit. Another area where I see that a lot is going to be with the folks doing production work. There's a lot of people selling really nice tables, but then they're sending their customers elsewhere to buy chairs. And the chairs might be of, not as great quality compared to the table we made for them. So you can see this back assembly. Come on. Hang on. Well, a back assembly goes together, something like that, and you have a nice angled back, nice curves here to support the back, and it's actually quite comfortable. So, a lot of people ask me who is making these things, so I have partnered with a white label, wood products manufacturer who specializes in chairs. So we'll talk a little bit more about what that means in a bit as far as all the parts go, but everything here is pretty much all made with machines, CNC'd, and in bulk, big bulk. All right, let's take a look at the styles we have back here. So I have 4 different styles. Now each style is going to have a maple option. Your maple option is going to be, well, maple, also a stain grade and also paint grade. So if you want to stain or paint, maple is going to be the option for that. It's also the cheapest option for all the different styles. So let's start down here with style number 2. And a lot of people ask me, well, what happened to style number 1? Style number 1 is right down there. That was the first prototype thing. Didn't really vibe too well with me. And it ended up you'll see elements of style 1 in all of these. So it sort of became like the foundational point of all the stuff. So style 2 is this guy here. This is going to be the simplest as far as assembly goes. The base of the frame here is actually square or rectangular. So very easy for clamping. It's also a a slightly smaller, more compact kind of style. If you compare this one with style number 3, you can see the seat's actually a little bit narrower, especially towards the front, and you have a little more of a narrow feel towards the back. So if you have a smaller space where you need a slightly smaller chair, more compact style, style 2 is going to do that for you. Style 2 is available in 2 different options. We have this, we'll call it rustic walnut. It's going to be walnut that has what is traditionally imperfections, so you're going to have some knots, you'll probably have some crotch figure and things kind of mixed in all over the place. You'll probably have some sapwood as well, so this is your rustic-ish walnut one. And then here's that one in maple. This one happens to be with a dark stain, and then you'll see the other maples are just a clear finish. So same deal there. This is an example of what you can do with maple. You can stain it whatever you want, or you can paint it as well. That's going to be your cheapest option. Coming over here to style number 3. This one's going to have the triple back slat, and it's also going to have, or start getting into the more, what do we call that, shapely frame. So this one actually flares out in the front, so you have angle joinery here between the back rail and the leg. You can see the leg is also rolled inward as well to add some more curvature and look to it. So we got that going on here. This one is in walnut. This is more of a clear type walnut. So that's going to be a little bit different than your rustic walnut. We also have that in cherry and a maple one back here as well. Now next is style number 4. So this is a more formal style, has a higher back than style number 3. So style 3 is more casual. Style 4 is going to have a higher, more formal feel and appearance. Style 4 also has the flared out front, so you have the angle joinery just like number 3. The legs are rolled again, and the biggest difference here is going to be the single large back slat. That again, just like style 2, is available in walnut, in cherry, so just a clear cherry finish, and then maple as well. Coming over here to style 5. Style 5 has sort of a mission, arts and crafts type vibe going on. So it has a thicker appearance to, well, thicker material here for the legs. So comparing the style 4 to style 5, you can see the legs, the front legs and the rear legs come from thicker material. So it has a more substantial feel. We've also added the lower rail here. So it has more of a sort of arts and crafts flair. you have the large single back slat, just like over here on style 4. And one difference here is the legs come up past the crest rail versus in style 4 and style 3, the legs come up into the crest rail. So slight difference there. This one here is going to be available in quarter sawn white oak, which is what this one is. If you want the heaviest chair, this is the one you want. It's really heavy. It's a lot of wood there. This is a red oak version. And then we also have it in maple. Now, to make the assembly process as easy as possible, I have produced instructions for the styles which are actually available. So if you're really interested in purchasing any of these, definitely check out the instructions. There's a 35-minute video for each style. I do not have the instructions yet for style number 2. I have a problem with the seat I have for my example, which is actually the one I showed you earlier. So before these ship, I will have the full instruction package for style number 2. But in reality, if you take a look at what you're going to get for the instructions for any of the other 3 styles, it's going to be very similar. So that video takes you through unboxing the kit, organizing everything, doing all of your little detail work before doing all your finish prep, a little bit about finishing, and then takes you through the full assembly. So make sure you check out the instructions to get a full understanding of what's really involved with putting together a kit before you buy. Now, as far as the time to put these things together, that's going to vary a lot depending on what you have for a shop setup, your comfortability level with getting things sanded and finished and all that. As far as someone in a hobby type shop like I'm in, when I was putting together the kits that were not part of the instructions, I was averaging around 1:45 per unit. So figure somewhere in there for someone in a hobby type shop. If you're in more of a production type shop where you have, a spray booth and you have a way to sand inside curves like here, for all of the inside curves, I hand sanded all of those, but if you have a flap sander or a orbital sander with different hardness of pads, you could get through the sanding process a lot faster than I did. So figure close to an hour maybe if you're in a production shop, maybe less than that, and maybe up to 2 hours if you're into more of a hobby shop. Now, as far as the skills required to actually build these things, skill level is sort of a subjective thing, so I'm not really going to assign a skill level to this. It can be beginner friendly if you kind of know what you're doing already or you really just take your time with it. But the skills you really need, you need to be able to do a really good job of finish prep, so sanding, edge breaking, and all of that, and then finishing. So those are the 2 core skills of putting together a chair kit. The glue up and assembly isn't all that bad. If you ever glued up a Morrison tenon joint before, it might be a little bit different, but again, if you take your time, if you haven't done it before, it shouldn't be too big of a deal. The biggest thing here is being able to put down a really good finish, and if you're able to do that with whatever finish you're really good at, your chair kit will come out looking really nicely. So next I want to cover a little bit about the chair kits themselves so that expectations are realistic. So first off, these are production chairs. They are made and designed for production, both on the side of actually making all the parts and for assembling them. So they're made or designed to be assembled as quickly as possible on an assembly line. If someone is trying to put together 500 of these, they don't want to be messing around trying to get things to fit together perfectly. There's going to be a little more leniency in things to get them to go together quickly. And then on the manufacturing side, it's all about getting these parts made as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. So for that reason, there are some concessions that I've had to make in order to hit the price point that I'm at. And I thought we'd just kind of cover them real quick just so you have a really good idea of what you're actually getting. So the first sort of concession thing is going to be the fit of the tenons into the mortises. When you get your kit, you're going to notice they feel pretty loose if you are used to making your own Morrison tenon joints with that perfect slip-in fit. The reason for that is they are designed to have the exact right size so that when glue goes on to that mortise and tenon joint and those fibers swell, then it becomes a slip fit. So it becomes a slip fit at assembly, not so much during dry assembly. Because on an assembly line, you don't want someone trying to smack together a bunch of chairs. You want them to put them together, put them in the clamps, and move on to the next one. So the next concession is going to be to do with the rear legs. So in order to get these to be made economically, these are actually cut out of large, giant panels. So these are cut out of big glue-up panels, so you will very likely see a glue seam somewhere in the leg. and it's possible that it might not be all that noticeable. Like this one doesn't seem super noticeable, but there is a seam here. This cherry one here has a seam that runs right here, and you can see it pick up down here towards the bottom. You know, again, this one I don't think is super noticeable, but it's something that you could end up seeing in the final kit. You will see the seam a little bit along the front if it happens to go across that curve, but in a lot of these, it's not super noticeable. Again, that's just to make sure that this kit is actually able to be produced economically, knocking out as many of these legs as possible. Otherwise, to actually cut that as a single piece, you'd be looking at a ridiculous amount of waste because you have all of the waste from this cutout being removed, and the cost on that would be just astronomical at scale. The next one has to do with quick assembly. So on the chairs that have the single steam bent back panel, these big guys here, the slot that they go into is going to be a little bit oversized than the thickness of the panel. That's because with the steam bending process, that's not necessarily 100% a perfect form, so there could be a different amount of spring back depending on the species or where the tree grew that produces lumber or what have you. So the slot is intentionally made oversized, so if there's a little bit of deviation in the curve from the steam bending, it's still going to fit down to the slot. So that's going to result in a bit of a gap here between the panel and the slot. That gap is probably going to be variable because that curvature is going to be slightly different than the curvature in the panel. And during the assembly process, if you want to, you can kind of shift the panel back or front if you have some space to either put the gap all on one side or to kind of split the difference and make smaller gaps on either side. Now, one small thing you probably will never notice is going to be the underside of the crest rail where the back slats go into it. These slats are going to be just a little bit, a little bit oversized. So you'll have a little bit of a space to the left and right of each slat. That's going to give some space for these things to flex around as the back slats are being compressed by someone's back and have somewhere to go. It's also going to make sure that no matter what's going on down here, if there's any variation in the curvature, that it ends up coming up into the crest rail without getting stuck or bound up. So you might be asking yourself, Matt, how come you just gave me 6 numbers and they don't have actual names? So first off, I'm not very good at naming things. And second of all, they don't have names, so you can call them whatever you like. So if you are planning to put these together and resell them to your customers, you can market them and brand them however you like with your own unique names. You might be wondering if they're actually comfortable, and I think so. This is probably one of the most comfortable chairs I've ever sat in my life. They all have a very, very similar comfort rating, in my opinion. They have like amazing lumbar support, so all of these back slats hit your lumbar region like perfectly, so it conforms really nicely to your back. And the seat scoop is, yeah, it's nice. It definitely conforms to, you know, a butt, so it feels nice. Now, another thing that people have been asking too has been, is this going to be it? Are there going to be other things that go along with this? And probably. The answer is probably. So the thing with the pre-sale that I'm doing right now is really just to test the waters to see, is this a product that people will actually be interested in? And if so, I can kind of scale things and bring on new products and even modify these ones. So a common request has been, is there going to be bar stool height chairs, and are there going to be armchairs? Both of those are possibilities if it works. So I'm really excited about the future for this. I think it's going to go really well, and there's going to be a lot more products here. This is my first sort of sampling of things. So if you are interested in the kits, definitely check out the instructions. You can kind of just scrub through the videos and see what's involved with actually putting together a full kit. If you're interested in style number 2, again, the instructions are not there yet. They will be there by the time they ship, but they will follow the same format as the other chairs. So if you take a look at any of the instructions for style 2, style 4, or style 5, that'll give you a good feel for what's going to be there as far as information. And the differences between the kits as far as assembly goes is not all that great. So keep that in mind as well. I am super duper excited about this. If you have any questions about the kits that I did not cover, feel free to leave me a comment, or you can shoot me an email and I will answer all those questions to the best of my abilities. So thank you as always for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments on the chair kits, please feel free to leave me a comment. As always, to be happy to answer any questions you might have. Until next time, happy woodworking.